Welcome back to Sharing Sawdust. My name's Alex. This is our 5th episode in the game design series that I'm bringing to you, all about how I'm bringing an idea in my head out into the real world for my friends to play. In the previous episodes, we've talked a lot about prototyping and playtesting, but only by hand. So a lot of these designs are things I'm making with cardboard, foam core, and hot glue. In this episode, we're switching it up. We're finally moving into the stage of 3D printing and 3D modeling, where all the designs will be built in a CAD program and printed here on my Prusa Mini. Now this means there's going to be a lot more cleaner designs and also refined aesthetics in terms of the overall deliverable. And as you can see, our UFO has surprisingly shaped up nicely to look more like a UFO. So without further ado, let's get into it and see what the playtesters thought. Okay, so let's talk 3D modeling and 3D printing. For me, it's been almost 2 years since the last time I even operated that Prusa over there, or for the matter, touched any sort of CAD software. And this led to a backup in my plan of how quickly I would be able to produce these prototypes. Because for me, it was like learning how to ride a bike again, except the bike is a completely new interface and nothing you do actually works in the system. But nevertheless, I was able to conquer it and slowly learn through my mistakes on how to model something that was not only aesthetically a resemblance of what a UFO was, but also still maintained the functionality from the previous design that I'll talk about more. Now, the cool thing about this design is that it's entirely 3D printed. There's no glue, there's no mess. Besides magnets, everything you see here was printed over there on the bed of the Prusa Mini, which is really exciting. And to kind of give you a peek under the hood, take it out, you can see how the magnets are situated here. And everything snaps in with friction fit pieces. Now, I'm really proud of this design. This is something that I didn't really know if I was capable of before starting the software design. And I really want to thank my friend Sean, who helped me create Shuffle Pong by guiding me through the initial problems that I was facing and giving me different resources to help answer those. Without his help, I don't think I would have been able to do this, and I'm just really grateful to have made it this far along the journey. Now, when it comes to different build montages, I don't really have anything that matches the same energy from the previous videos. All of these designs are simply modeled very slowly in FreeCAD and then placed on the 3D printing bed to be printed. I do have a short montage of how the pucks are printed, so if you're interested, feel free to watch that now.
It's the story of a UFO that has landed. Right now, somewhere on this planet.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, similar to the last episode, what has changed from 2.0 to UFO 3.0. And it may seem like a lot, and we did make a big jump aesthetically, but overall the functionality is still generally the same. And what I mean by that is that you still have your 3 outer magnets, they're just better hidden into the overall design of what the UFO looks like and encapsulates. So if you flip over and you see the bottom, you see you've still got your 3 outer magnets, and they're still pulling into the alien side of the magnet, while the innermost one is still pulling the cow or the moo magnet. Now with this design, the one thing to change functionally to reflect the feedback that we got from the last episode of playtesting was it's a little too easy to score in the middle. And I also had an issue with the aesthetic of how the walls looked. It just didn't feel like it informed the build in a way that made sense for when you think of a UFO,
how is a UFO flying and how is it supported? And it levitates. But what's the one thing that a UFO always has is its central beam. That's how it abducts things. So I really enjoy this creative bound that I made of taking the walls and actually forming them into an aesthetic purpose as well as a functional purpose. But what this means is that the walls are actually quite tight. So instead of being able to slide past and instead of just going for a pew or an alien, you're going now for a moo to get sucked up into the center. That is taken away. It's actually much harder to get into the center, which is why I've raised the stakes to score 5 points in the middle instead of just 1. And I got a lot of really good consumer feedback that actually might be too powerful of a score, but only if your name is Brady. And if you know, you know.
It's gonna go crazy.
Whoa! Was that a cow? Yeah. Oh! Now, the rest of the design has been maintained throughout. And just for an example, I'll show you how this will work, and then we'll jump into consumer feedback. So you slide it, just like you would this one, down the table. And as you can see, I've kind of got it facing me, but not so much. The pucks are also 3D printed. They also should reflect exactly what the designs did in the first one of either having to throw moo or pew. Moo being center, pew being outside. I'll try to throw a pew here to actually show you what it actually does. So as you can see, you can't see it from this angle as well, but it was able to get pulled up. Now if I throw a moo here, I'm probably gonna miss, but that's okay. The idea here is that it's meant to be difficult. Not everyone's gonna be scoring 5s constantly, and that's what you want the game to feel. It's supposed to be balanced. So if I come over here, oh my God. I actually did it. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. Maybe we do need to change it to 3 points instead of 5. Oh, man. But anyways, that's how the overall function works. The design has come very far along. People really do enjoy the functionality, and let's dive further into the feedback that they had for the playthrough. I think first and foremost, it was a really well-designed UFO, and I heard a lot about that from our players. The problem was it was actually too smooth of a design, and I mean that by how well the UFO slid. I think looking at the overall design, having such tiny supports and them being so centralized, there was a fear of like, will it tip over? Will it even slide? Like, it's a bulky design now, it has a lot of magnets in it, and there's just these 3 little support points. And it actually slid too well, to the point where it slid off the back of the table and ended up breaking the core support in 2, so it couldn't actually stand up. Now, luckily, I had printed multiple copies of these supports out because when you have a final design like this, you want to make sure you're ready for anything. And with the 3D printer, you can just easily replicate every single design, piece for piece, design for line, and it worked out in the end because I was able to quickly switch out the design and no one had to really wait for me to reprint something that would take a couple hours. Now, in addition to this, the pucks were also kind of changed from their previous design, where instead of being as large as poker chips, they've been brought down by about 1/4 of an inch, which meant they were a little bit smaller and people didn't love that as much, but that's something I can easily change in the next iteration. The one thing that was weird about the pucks, in addition to their size, was the face of one side of the pucks would grip extremely hard on the wooden surface of my dining room table. But on the other hand, it would slide just completely smooth right off it like an air hockey puck, and I wasn't really sure what was going on with the physics there, but I'll be sure to investigate it for the next round. Playing on a long folding table didn't actually have much of an issue there, so you're able to slide both, and we were luckily able to pivot to playing on that surface instead. Now, in addition to the pucks, we've also added ramps in, which with ramps, it added this new idea where I thought people would use them more to jump over opponents, but instead they became more like plows, as we were calling them. So in case you missed one of your pucks early and it just didn't slide as far as you wanted, or someone was in your way, they would actually use them to push them all the way out of the way. And I thought that was a really fun way to play with them and something that I had not fully anticipated. But that's the beauty of playtesting. You get to learn as you play, and being able to be one of the players myself, it was fun to see it happening in real time. Now, overall, I think the design and functionality of this UFO has really exceeded my expectations right now, and I'm really loving where it's at. So in the future, I'm not anticipating this to have a lot of both aesthetic or functional changes in general. There'll be smaller tweaks that'll be made throughout the upcoming designs, but now I'll primarily be focusing on how this is branded and how the story is told. So when you open this up as a game, and if I'm not there to explain it, I want people to be able to understand the concept and how it works, just in the basic layman terms. So that is all I have for today's video. I will see you in the next episode where we talk more about that. See you later.